Have you ever heard of Saint Lucifer? Yes, you heard that right. Saint Lucifer. Two words that sound like they should never share the same sentence. And yet, there's a real chapel in Italy dedicated to him. The name that later came to symbolize rebellion and darkness once belonged to a Christian bishop, a man remembered for his faith, not his fall. That's where our story begins, in the tension between light and shadow, between what a word once meant and what it became. Because before Lucifer was the devil, he was something else entirely, and understanding that might just change the way you see the story of good and evil. In this video, we're going to uncover a forgotten story. The story of how a Christian bishop ended up carrying one of the most feared names in all of history. Who was Lucifer of Cagliari? And how did his name, once meaning the bringer of light, become forever tied to darkness? To understand this, we'll travel through the Roman Empire, explore the oldest Jewish texts, and see how language and theology intertwined to change everything. What began as a symbol of brilliance and purity slowly transformed into a name whispered in fear. So stay with me until the end, because what you'll discover might challenge what you've believed your entire life. Sometimes the truth isn't hidden in the shadows, it's right there in the light, waiting to be seen. Lucifer of Cagliari was not a myth nor a symbol. He was a real man. A bishop from Sardinia, known for his courage and fierce defense of what he believed was the true Christian faith. During the 4th century, when the Roman Empire tried to impose theological unity through force, Lucifer refused to bend. He opposed the emperor, defended the Nicene Creed, and for that he was exiled. He lived his faith like a flame, bright, uncomfortable, and defiant. His followers admired him not for his softness, but for his fire. The same fire that, ironically, his name already carried, Lucifer, the bringer of light. A man who fought for clarity in a time of confusion, for truth in a time of manipulation. It's poetic, isn't it? A man named Lucifer who stood for the light of faith. But history has a strange sense of humor, and soon that same name would be misunderstood, twisted and feared for centuries. Before Lucifer became the name of the fallen angel, it was simply a Latin word, lux ferre, meaning to bring light. The ancient Romans used it to describe the morning star, the planet Venus, shining just before dawn. To them, it wasn't a curse word. It was beauty. It was promise. It was the last light of night announcing the birth of the day. In Roman poetry, Venus was called Lucifer when seen before sunrise, and Vesper when seen after sunset. It was a cycle, light giving way to darkness, darkness returning to light. The term was not moral, it was cosmic. It spoke of rhythm, of renewal. The name Lucifer meant hope, the herald of the sun. Imagine that image for a second, a small, bright star pulling the sun from the horizon. That's what ancient observers saw. To them, Lucifer was not pride, it was service. It wasn't rebellion, it was anticipation. A star that carried light before light itself arrived. When you see it that way, the name feels sacred again. It speaks to something pure, the idea that even the smallest light has purpose, even the faintest star helps the dawn break. And maybe that's what makes this transformation so tragic, how something once poetic became feared, how a symbol of clarity turned into one of chaos. The word Lucifer does appear in the Bible, but not in the way most people think. In the Latin Vulgate, translated by Saint Jerome in the 4th century, the term was used several times, sometimes even in positive contexts. For example, in the book of Peter, Christ himself is called the morning star that rises in your hearts. In Latin, that word was Lucifer. Imagine that. The same name used for Jesus, centuries before it became a synonym for Satan. It wasn't a name of evil, it was a poetic title, a metaphor for divine illumination. To early Christians, light was sacred, and whoever brought it was honored. Lucifer was a bearer of brightness, not destruction, but somewhere along the way, that meaning began to shift. A single verse, one line in a prophetic book, would change everything. And it's right there, hidden in the middle of Isaiah. Long before the church officially defined its angels and demons, there was another story circulating among Jewish mystics. A story written in the book of Enoch. It spoke of celestial beings who descended to earth, fascinated by human beauty, and who taught forbidden knowledge, metallurgy, magic, and war. These were the Watchers, the fallen ones, whose rebellion inspired fear and awe. For early readers, this wasn't just fantasy. It was a reflection of a spiritual truth, that light can fall, that brilliance can corrupt itself. These fallen stars were not yet the demons we know today, but symbols of divine freedom gone astray. Their tragedy was not in their power, but in their pride. When Christianity absorbed these ancient stories, something profound began to shift. The imagery of the fallen star, the bringer of light who defies heaven, started to merge with another figure, one mentioned by the prophet Isaiah. And it was that fusion that changed everything that came after. And this is where language quietly rewrote theology. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 12, the prophet speaks to a fallen king, the ruler of Babylon, mocking his arrogance. How you have fallen from heaven, O shining one, son of the dawn. In Hebrew, the phrase is Hillel ben Shachar, literally, the bright one, son of the morning. It had nothing to do with a celestial rebellion. It was satire, a poetic insult aimed at human pride. But when St. Jerome translated the Bible into Latin centuries later, he chose the word Lucifer to render Hillel. And that single decision changed centuries of belief. The satire aimed at an arrogant king slowly transformed into a cosmic drama about a fallen angel. The metaphor hardened into mythology, and what was once a moral lesson about pride became the story of the devil himself. It's ironic. A verse meant to humble a man became the foundation for demonizing a name. Lucifer, once bearer of light, now carried the weight of darkness. And that shift didn't happen overnight. It grew with interpretation, fear, and imagination. But if one verse could redefine an entire name, what else might have been lost or distorted in the passage of time? For centuries, the name Lucifer carried both meanings, the bringer of light and the symbol of downfall. What began as poetry became doctrine, and what was once human pride turned into cosmic evil. That shift shows how fragile words can be, how translation and time can reshape faith itself. Because before theology, there was language, and language has power. A single choice, a single word, can redirect entire generations of belief. What St. Jerome translated with good intention ended up altering the imagination of the Western world. From the lips of prophets to the fears of medieval priests, Lucifer stopped being a morning star and became a warning. And maybe that says the real lesson behind all of this, that even words born of light can be turned into shadows when misunderstood. Understanding this doesn't make the sacred less sacred. It makes it more human. It reminds us that faith isn't about fear. It's about discernment, about knowing when the light you follow truly comes from God. If this story made you think differently about something you thought you already knew, then that's exactly why I told it. Because sometimes truth doesn't need to shout, it just needs to be seen under a new light. If you felt that light today, share this video. Subscribe, so we can keep exploring these stories where faith, history, and meaning meet. Every week we uncover how much of what we believe is shaped not only by God, but by words, by time, by us. And before you go, remember this. Lucifer once meant bearer of light, a name that was once beautiful, but that today would be impossible to give to a child. God bless you.